So when I created those slides, I was slightly very hungover. So I didn't adjust them at all for this talk. Let's see how far we get. I have a sister, and she's 8 years younger than me. She's 22, and she's the most annoying person in my life. And she's a very typical representative of the millennials, Generation Y, X, Z, or whatever you call it nowadays. And I call her dummy because her attitude annoys me every now and then by thinking that she knows everything and that she can act in any unexcusable way just because she's young and whatever. So that's why I thought, oh yeah, so if I'm going to speak in front of people that are like my sister, let's make a starters pack for dummies about how to disrupt your way up. And then I was thinking, like, okay, I'm going to go out there. I think there were probably around, 200 people at the presentation that I talked at in Amsterdam. And then I thought, oh yeah, great, just go out there and tell 200 young people that they're dumb. So that's why I decided to change it. And I call it actually a starters pack for millennials. Because I think you guys still also like kind of, you're still in the millennials age, hopefully, or generation, whatever word letter you want to use. So, in this case, you were looking for me, or at least this is the reason why you're here, also for my guest lecture. Why I was telling you to take a look at my Tinder. Oops, sorry. Yeah, that's also my Tinder picture, by the way, the first one. I do get a lot of matches. That's a good thing. I don't know why, maybe because of my green hair. This is my Twitter profile, and you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on any social media, because I've built my personal brand and I like to be out there and tell everybody that I'm out there. Don't add me on Facebook because Facebook is for my friends. You're not my friends, so don't add me there. You can follow me on Instagram. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Feel free to. Why am I here today? Because when I moved 10 years ago to the Netherlands to study, I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to study. I applied to study European languages and law. Then suddenly I moved more towards business, and then in the end I ended up in hospitality industry. I faced a lot of discrimination back in the days, 10 years ago. I had a lot of troubles finding a job. I didn't speak Dutch. I didn't know what my rights are. When I went the first day to university, I got a package that was saying, welcome to International Hospitality Management. I was like, what? I didn't apply for that. I wrote my motivation letter about international business. They didn't give a shit. They told me, if you don't like it, pack your stuff and go back to Bulgaria. And that's an international university, top 3 in the Netherlands. So through the years I struggled a lot, and I was like, okay, I need to do something. I don't want to experience that. I went into the hospitality industry, which I studied for in the end, and my dream was to become a general manager of a 5-star hotel in Rome. And I thought that by the age of 35 or maybe 40, I will be there. But then life happens, and then I ended up 3 years ago making a huge switch in my career and going from hospitality management into HR and recruitment. So why do I think that I can tell you something that is useful is because in 3 years, without having any experience in recruitment and HR, I've managed to triple my salary. I'm working for myself, and I'm nominated for the most influential recruiter in the Netherlands for 2018. And I have community that is following me from all over the world. And just for the last year, I spoke at 25 international events all across Europe. If I can do that in 3 years, you can do even more in 3 years because you're more digital than me, and probably also smarter than me. And I'm lazy also, and I still manage to do that. In very short, let's see, I think this is the old presentation, by the way, because you see, so the flowers are from my previous company. I used to work for Blumont, which was a startup for flowers. So my work is connected to people. I headhunt them. I make sure that they're happy and they stay in companies. And in my free time, I'm a passionate shoe collector. I have more than 120 pairs of shoes. I don't need a rehab for that because it costs too much money, so I can better invest them in shoes. And I really like to travel. Talking about disrupt, I really love this word, and I got to love it because this was one of the first words that I've heard when I went to work for Blumont, that flowery startup that I worked for. And they were like talking about how they're disrupting the industry. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for this company. I'm not a native English speaking person. I didn't know what disrupt was. So I went out there and I Googled it. And the first thing that I see that disrupt means to break something apart, to interrupt the normal course of how things are happening. And then I was thinking, like, why the hell a company that wants to hire people is telling them that they're breaking something apart? After working 2 years for Blumont, I've realized that disrupt, it's not necessarily a bad word. It can mean also positive things, because who says that the normal course of something that is happening is the good one? So that's why I really called also this talk Disrupt Your Way Up, because you can achieve so much positive things in terms of disruption. We talked about that guy over there on the left. That is a brilliant mind, but also total asshole. I fucking hate him, really. And I can tell you why, because he did the whole story with Tesla, great. Super feel respect, a lot of respect for this guy. He wants to bring people to Mars, great. Love you for that. But the way he treats his employees, it's terrible. Just because he thinks that having 4 hours of sleep per day will make you successful, he expects that everybody in the company will have 4 hours of sleep. Those people get burnouts. They are not able to functional anymore in the coming year or two. Is that a good thing? I don't think so. But this is also a good example to show you how disrupt can mean for one person the complete opposite sides of something. Being disruptive in being one of the most successful business people in the whole world, and being disruptive being one of the worst employers in the whole world. The same for the rest of the people. You would hear positive things, negative things. In the end, everybody has two sides. So it's also up to you to choose how you're going to disrupt the world or your career or anything. If you want to create a bad image of yourself and you think that that's going to sell it, do it. There is a very interesting movie on Netflix, The American Meme or something, just came out a couple of days ago. Watch it, because they're talking about influencers, social media, and actually creating a really bad name for yourself can make you super successful. So if it works for you, it works, use it. But one thing that puts all those people in one line is the fact that they're authentic, they're being themselves. And this is very important for your personal brand. Be yourself, don't try to create an image that you're not, because in the end, what's going to happen is you're going to become bipolar, and you probably don't want that. And if we're talking, we have people that are disruptive, but we also have companies that are disruptive. And we can take the examples from those people and also from the companies and use those things in order to make ourselves successful. Do you guys recognize the bigger brands? Obviously, you recognize probably. Do you recognize also the smaller brands? Most of them are Dutch. You know Swapfiets? Yeah. Okay, they're probably more active in Amsterdam than in Rotterdam. I don't know, but they started 3 years ago with the idea to share bikes. So for 12 euros a month or something, you would get a bike, and whatever happens with it, they would always replace it or fix it for you within 1 hour. Great. You know Rumag, the Dutch people? The internationals probably don't know it that much because it's only quotes in Dutch, but they're very disruptive. They're like literally saying like fuck you and all those bad words, but they became a huge movement and they're so influential just because they dare to be authentic, and the founders are just like, I don't give a shit if you like me, this is who I am, and I will always find people around me that will like me. So I really like them. And in the end, all those companies, they are authentic, they have great ideas, but you know what's the most important thing for all those companies? The people that are working in there. Because those companies, just with the ideas that they have, great, brilliant, everything fine, but if they don't have the right people, with the right mindset, with the right drive, they would never ever get anywhere. That's why, for example, you see a lot of startups fail, because they have bad strategies, but also because they don't have the right people. What are the different companies saying is exactly the same story that we just talked about the slogan of Coca-Cola or the slogan of Nokia or all those companies. All those things are very specific for the companies. So in the end, it would be a good idea to think about your own slogan. Mine has become now disrupt. If you look at my LinkedIn page, you'll see also high heels next to it because it's my personal brand. Eventually, after a couple of years, you'll find out also what is your personal brand and how you want to promote yourself. Now, there is, of course, the other thing that when we're talking in terms of hiring, so applying for a job from your perspective and hiring as a company from my perspective or the hiring managers, there is always that thing, very recognizable, the difference between the expectations and the reality. So what I actually am doing with the companies that I'm working with, I'm trying to teach them that this is reality. And very often I would have managers coming to me and say, I want to have a graduate that just graduated but has 5 years of experience. Why? That's not possible. So from my side, I'm teaching them, trying to persuade them that they have to be realistic in their expectations. And from the other side, you guys have to be also realistic in your own expectations. You can't expect that today you're here and in 1 year you're going to be there. You might be, but then you're a unicorn. Take your time, have your goal in front of your eyes, and then in the end, maybe over 5 years, you're going to get there. But in the meantime, that's going to happen over there on the left side. You're going to fall down, you're going to cry, you're going to be fucked up, messed up, and all those kind of things. But the most important thing is to stand up and try it all over again, because otherwise, you're going to get lost somewhere over there in the beginning. What are companies promising you? How many of you have seen all those perks and benefits on the websites, on the jobs pages, right? They say, oh, we offer you free lunch every day, we offer Friday drinks, you get the best Apple gadgets, probably some sport subscriptions and whatever things, and great future. Okay, good, they all do it for you, but this is also a way to persuade you to go to work for them, which is, in my opinion, a little bit wrong, because they should persuade you because of the company and because of the projects rather than the benefits kit. But based on this, what do they expect from you? They want you to be flexible, they want you to have a great personality, to have understanding from digital world, to be a great team player, to have passion. And of course, what you're going to do when you start applying for a job, you're going to screen what they require and say, oh yeah, I'm a team player, let me put it in my CV. But that's again the expectations versus reality moment, where what they expect from you, it's not realistic. What is realistic is actually this. We can't expect you to have all that, especially when you graduated. But what I can help you with today is to have a couple of guidelines how you can teach yourself or create something that is going to help you to show them that you have all that just without the hands-on experience. Oh yeah, this is my favorite one. So this is about women. I don't recognize that at all. But this is also hiring managers. So a hiring manager tells you, I want to have somebody with 5 years of experience that will earn 3,000 euros and that will doing all the shit work. But then in the end of the day, somebody who has 5 years of experience is never going to work for 3,000 euros and never is going to work the shitty job that you're going to offer them. So I would also recommend you to also be yourself during the job interviews, and when they ask you, do you have 5 years of experience, to be also blunt about it and say, well, I just graduated. It's a little bit hard to combine school and work. Because, you know, like, we as recruiters say it constantly to the hiring managers, but they don't listen to us. They have some problems with reality. But okay, so this is all blah, blah, blah. Let's get to the serious stuff. Me working for different startups and scale-ups and also bigger companies, I've came to the conclusion that there is a set of normally 5 things that companies are looking for. And in every company, it's called slightly different, but let's call it cultural values. So the trend is, what we discuss in the HR, in the recruitment industry nowadays, is that in a couple of years, the market is going to dry out so badly for good professionals in terms of educated, experienced people, that at some point we'll have to stop hiring people based on expertise, but more on attitude and values. So if you start developing those things now, in 2-3 years, you already can land the best job ever, but if you work, if you have those ethics, I can guarantee you that you're gonna land in 2-3 years the best job ever, even if you don't have the experience. That worked for me. It worked also for the 150 people that I've hired for the past 2 years. Because this is based on what I was hiring people. Because this is what the culture of every startup and scale-up is based on their cultural values, on their attitude towards work. So I'm going to take a look at the different things and the different values. I've added the dream big and the dare to disrupt, because those are the 2 things that help me to achieve what I have today. The other 5 values you will find on the website of Blumon, the previous company that I worked for. Together with the employees in the company, we came up with those 5 things, and we said this is who we are and this is what kind of people we want to work with together. So in terms of dream big, I told you a little bit a short version of my life story for the past 10 years, but I've always followed, so you asked who are our role models. For me, my role model is Coco Chanel. Have you heard about Coco Chanel? Yeah, okay. So if you never heard about her or you don't know what she did, she was the first female in the whole industry, fashion industry, during the First World War to introduce pants as female attire. She didn't have anything. She moved to Paris, she opened a very small shop, and she started hand making the pants because she thought that women have to be able to move more freely during the war, because with everything what was happening, they had to be more flexible instead of those big dresses. You know, nowadays that a Chanel bag costs around 20,000 euros. It all started with her, just because she dreamt big and she never gave up. So this also helped me, that was my inspiration always, to push it forward and go further. What I noticed with the biggest irritation in my life, my sister, is that the attitude also a lot with the generations, the younger generations, is like, I can Google everything. If I don't know it, I'll just go in there and I'm gonna Google it. I'm so awesome, I'm so amazing. And I'm not bashing you guys, it's just something that we notice the shift between the generations. because you have such a great access to knowledge that often gives you some kind of a small arrogance, which is not necessarily a bad thing, and please don't change that. But also, don't forget this. There are almost 8 billion people on this world. You're not irreplaceable, right? So if you have the arrogancy, have it, because you are unique. So build your uniqueness so you can be arrogant. I am arrogant now because I've worked my ass off for the past 3 years, but I can tell you that I'm earning 15,000 euros a month. Yeah, now I can be arrogant. 3 years ago, my salary was 1,200 euros a month. So, you know, what I mean is like, find the balance in it and stay authentic. Act like an owner. This is something that translates in, well, be responsible, grab life for the boss if you want to. The thing is that what we mentioned talking about working for startups is you get a lot of responsibility. Mostly in startups, people would give you also a lot of freedom, and they would treat you as an employee rather than intern. So if you learn to take responsibility, that would help you a lot. So in terms of honesty and directness, that's something that I've learned as well in the first years of my recruitment experience. I fucked up so badly. Do you know what equity means?
Yeah.
So you can, a lot of startups, in order to persuade you to come to work for them, they're not able to give you a lot of money, right? Because they didn't raise a lot of money, so you would normally start quite on the lower side. How they try to persuade you to work for them is by giving you a piece of the company in terms of equity, so you can be more motivated, and then at some point, when the company starts earning a lot of money, you're going to become rich, eventually, hopefully. So what did I do as a recruiter? I was about to hire somebody, and that person says, do you offer equity? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And he was like, okay, then I'm going to accept the job, but I want 20,000 in equity. I was like, is this the only thing that, you know, stops you from accepting the job? He was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, no problem. So I'm going to the CEO, and I'm like, hey, we managed to hire our person, congratulations, let's open champagne. And he was like, he accepted the lower amount of money. I was like, yeah, we just gave him 20,000. And oh no, and then I asked him like, do we offer equity? And he was like, no, that's against our principles. We can't do that because economically it's not really good for us, so let's not do it. I just gave him 20,000. It's not like 20 euros, you know? So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna fix this. I'm not gonna tell the CEO. Everything will be okay. That was the first time that I ever did something like this. And then 3 days later, he came to me and he was like, oh, of course, we offered somebody equity. I was like, yeah, no, but it was not really like this and blah, blah. So I tried to lie to get myself out of the shitty situation that I got myself, not taking responsibility, which was immediately his respect towards me as a person and his respect towards me as a professional went under there, minus 100 meters under the ground. So even if you fuck up, go and tell. Like, nobody's gonna fire you for something. Or even if they do, well, at least you're gonna learn from your mistake. That's a very nice picture of me. I hate it. Act like an owner is also staying behind the decisions and owning it. I'm going to turn 30 in 1 week, freaking out. And I decided to put braces because I was a stupid kid when I was 10 years old, and I said I'm not gonna wear that because I don't want it to be bullied at school. And 3 years ago I went to my dentist and he said, if you don't put braces, you might start losing your teeth at some point. I was like, no. And then he said, okay, well, you can do it. You can do whatever you want. And then I decided to do it. A lot of people told me like, wow, I have such a great respect for you that you dare to put braces when you're almost 30. And I was like, so what? Is it like I put shit on my face or something? And that's why I posted this picture on all my social media and I said, there you go. 3 years, no dating and no more chocolate. But I'm happy about it. And I'm posting now selfies all the time. Well, I have 2 friends that didn't post anything on social media for 2 years because they put braces and they were 26. So when you make a decision, no matter if it's connected to your personal life, if you're going to wear braces when you're 30, or put your, shave your head, own it. And put it in people's faces. It helps. This happened last Sunday. So I have a big big group of friends, Eastern Europeans. They come from all different countries, and then we all go home for the Christmas holidays. And we didn't see each other for 2 weeks, so we decided to get all together and have a pre-Christmas brunch because we're going to see each other somewhere in January, in the end of January. One of the girls does that every fucking single time when we agree to see each other on Sunday. She's getting shit-faced on Saturday and then she cancels. Do you think that it's nice attitude this towards your friends? Like, you don't show any, okay, if it happens 1 time or 2 times in the year, it can happen to all of us, right? But she does it every single time. What kind of attitude does that show to your friends group? I don't appreciate you, and I'm not owning my decisions. If you're going to drink tequilas until 7 o'clock in the morning, be my guest and call me, I want to do it as well. But get your ass out of the bed at 4 p.m. the next day and go see your friends. If you have promised it, own it. Own your hangover. Spread happiness, my favorite one. Except for the extra karma points that you would get when you spread happiness, your mentality and the way how you interact with people, it's very important. And it will bring you a long way. 3 years ago when I started in recruitment, I didn't know anybody over there. I went to a meetup. Go to meetups, it's really helpful for your networking. I went to a meetup and the people were so friendly over there, I felt immediately home. That community of more than 400 recruiters is actually what helped me to be so successful today. And it's just because, you know, they're super friendly, they're spreading happiness, they're helping each other all the time, and they're helping each other elevate. You know, like I wrote an article for the first time in my life, everybody started sharing it. And I got a lot of tips, a lot of improvement points. It's a feel-good moment, really. And if you make somebody else happy, you're gonna feel happy yourself as well. This is like really proven by science. So this is Exhibit A, a croissant, and then there is some kind of fruit, and in Dutch it says, "It's all gonna be okay, darling." So I got this on my desk. After the Christmas party of Blue Moon last year. We ended up drinking tequilas with the management team of Blue Moon until 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we actually had to go straight from the bar, kind of, to work. We were with green faces, and we were like, a lot of people were running to the toilet all the time, and one of my colleagues that didn't make it to the party put for the whole HR team that small thing, treat, to help us get over the hangover. This made my day. And it's such a small gesture, but it changes also the whole balance in the team as well. So if you do small gestures like this for your team when you work, or for your colleagues, or for whatever person around you or your family, you'll see that people will also start giving it back. Test, learn, optimize. So this is a lot about experimenting. What you'll see if you have worked in a startup, or if you're planning to work in a smaller company, you'll get a lot of opportunities to test out things. The most important message that I want to tell you is, first of all, you probably have 10,000 ideas. In the end, just one will work, but don't give up on that. And then the second one is, please do learn from your mistakes. And sometimes you don't learn from your mistake even after the 100th time, but try to be very self-reflective about the things that you've done wrong, so that you can continue improving yourself. Because has somebody worked in a tech startup? Do you know what continuous integration is? No? Okay. Do you know what continuous learning is? Okay, but you're smart enough to think about what continuous learning is, right? This is it. Like, you will learn until the rest of your life, hopefully. Um, the more you experiment with things in your life, the more knowledge you will get, and the further it's going to help you also to become better and better in everything what you do. It's also the same with relationships and actually everything in life. I've done a greater plan, so this is, I think, very important for you guys, especially when you're 40 years, so you're going to soon graduate, right? In half a year? 1 year? Something like this? Half a year? Okay, great. So you probably are looking for internships and some things for in the future. Those things will change. You'll have experience in startups, scale-ups, big companies. You might be even jobless for some time, right? Always have several options, several plans, because even if plan A doesn't work, right, you have still the whole alphabet. Don't get disappointed, but you know what I do when I fuck up something, and it's like a big fuck up in my life? I drink a bottle of Jack Daniels. That doesn't mean that I support drinking, so I'm not telling you to drink a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm just giving you my own example. I drink a bottle of Jack Daniels in the corner in my living room. Then I cry, and then the next day I wake up with a big hangover. But then I'm like, okay, put your shit together. Now it's time for Plan B. I'm not saying this is the best way to deal with your problems or with your fuck ups, but everybody has a way to do it. Don't be scared to just let it go, and then just give yourself a couple of days to get over it, and then go back. Better together, that's something that corresponds again with spreading happiness. One of the feedbacks that I got when I left the previous company that I helped growing is the fact that I don't ask for help. The reason for that is that for the past years I had to do everything myself in terms of struggling to find work or, well, anything, just because my family is across border. I moved to Amsterdam. I didn't have any friends here. At the work that I was, at the company that I was working in the beginning was huge corporate where the average age was 35 years old. So I didn't have literally anyone who could give me a hand or even drink a beer with me. So I've learned myself not to ask for help and deal with all my problems and challenges on my own. That's not a good thing. Because if you work together with other people, you can always learn something from them. When you ask somebody for help, it gives them the feeling like, wow, you respect me, or you think I'm good enough to help you. So that's really a great way to earn somebody, also to be on your side. But also, two brains think better than one. So be better together, work together with teams. In the future, you have to work with teams more and more and more, even more than in university. And what really helped me to gain even more knowledge is going to all those events and conferences that I went to for the past 3 years to listen to the knowledge of other people, but also to give knowledge. Because you will see that if you share your knowledge with somebody, you'll get questions that you probably didn't ask yourself, and that's going to boost your learning even more. Dare to disrupt. That's my favorite. My second favorite one. 3 years I've been working in an HR industry. HR industry is very dusty. Up until a couple of years ago, everybody thought that HR is just making contracts and that's it. Even I thought it. So for me, it was a big surprise to get into HR industry where people actually use digital stuff and there is innovation. But walking around with blue hair in the HR industry is a no-go. Like, people would look at me so weird in the beginning. It's not professional. Oh, look at her. I did Dare to Disrupt. And I painted my hair blue, and I'm wearing it now for 1.5 years. But people do recognize me from a conference to a conference. When I go somewhere, they come to me and are like, you're the girl with blue hair. You're Teddy. Nice to meet you. I read your article. And the high heels is also like something that is part of my personal brand. So, you know, it's something that you would have. Oh yeah, and showing my tits. apparently. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, how many times my boss at my internship told me, like, Teddy, you can't wear clothes like this, you know, like, I literally see everything in your cleavage. I was like, I can't do anything about it. I don't want to. They're there, exactly. Thank you very much. I'm not wearing it to provoke. Seriously. It's just who I am, how I like to be dressed, and how I feel comfortable. And if it makes me comfortable, that's great. If it makes you uncomfortable, I'm really sorry about that. Don't look there. And this is the arrogant attitude that I have that a lot of people don't like. But that's okay, because this is who I am. And again, I've managed to build that kind of an attitude just because I've worked really hard for it. And I can be finally really myself. And it feels really good not to wear a mask. This one is also really funny. On one of the last conferences, they showed us the LinkedIn nearby. Have you heard about it? That's like a new feature on LinkedIn. When you open your LinkedIn and you put your Bluetooth on, it shows you everybody who is in the room. Very useful to connect on conferences and events. It was the first time, so the girl at the conference, she told us like, okay, open your phones, track it, check it out. I put my Bluetooth on and I see just the list of all people that just switched on their Bluetooths. But like, it really felt like, oh, I don't want to live with this one. Oh, this is an agency recruiter. No, no, no. So it really felt like I was almost swiping through the profiles. So I made a joke on Twitter. It went viral. That girl was laughing her ass off because the tweets were getting live on the screen. I can't say that because people are used to my tone of voice. If you say it, probably everybody will look at you like, what the fuck? The people that didn't know me were looking, what the fuck? But, you know, like, dare to disrupt. This is also a way how you create your personal brand, but also, you know, what is it to be, how do you become successful, or how do people get to know you? It's not because somebody will come and say, hey, have you met Ted? Probably at some point. But because you will go on the highest mountain and you'll start screaming, hey, it's me, here I am. And you'll scream even if people are getting annoyed. Because the more you scream, the more they hear you, the more they know you. And this is how it went for me. I started going to conferences, and then when people would like introduce me just because I know somebody, at some point I started asking, like, can I speak at your conference? And this is how I got to speak at conferences, not because somebody said, Teddy is great and she wants to speak at conferences. Now it's happening, but after 1 year of hard work. So this was step one. And this is step two. And this is actually what is in front of you in your life. And it's not necessarily the books. Maybe I should have put Google in there instead of the books. But I remember when I was 10 years ago at one of the last lectures in university before I went to my internship, I was like, okay, great, and now I'm going to go out there in the bright world and I'm going to find a job and it's going to be amazing, and in 15 years I'm going to become a general manager. And then life happened and a lot of things changed. So you will make mistakes, you will learn from them, or maybe not, and then at some point, hopefully, you will find your true passion, which might not be marketing, which might be HR or finance or coding or whatever. But the only thing that I want to tell you, it's going to be a fantastic journey. So it's something to definitely look forward to. And on a last word, good luck in it and don't fuck it up. Thanks, guys. Okay, nobody's asleep, so that's a good thing.
Yes, thank you, Teddy. Thank you so much, really,
Pleasure.
for telling us this story. And as you can see, we also have a very disruptive week this week, also with our guest lectures. But also, which was a word which I also love, what you mentioned today and what we talked earlier, is the word of authenticity. So one of the most important things into building successful personal brands, guys, is to create authentic view of yourself, of your skills, of who you are and what you can bring to the world. And authenticity works because then people can recognize you, can distinguish you among others. So listen to that message because there are a lot of very important messages in that story and I really like it and thank you for cooperating also in the lecture. I want actually to hear some questions from you guys because there is a lot of knowledge here about recruitment, about organizations. Actually, I had a question, if I can ask. It's about, you were saying that the more modern news digital startups, they function in a different way.
Yeah.
And the way recruitment happens. Can you tell a little bit about how that works and how these departments are functioning and created and how they work with each other? What kind of, also of course a little bit relating to skills, what are the expectations? It's of course it's a big question, but
I'll try to put it in a shorter version. So typically a startup would be quite small and the structure, you have a lot of cross-functional teams, which means that mostly for creating any projects you have people from marketing working together. For example, let's take employer branding. It used to be purely HR stuff or purely marketing. Nowadays, for example, for the company that I'm working right now on the project, we're going to create a employer branding project on which I have content, I have marketing team, I have tech team, so there are developers in there. And actually, we're cross-functional teams from every single department that exists that are working on one project. This helps us also to really achieve the best quality of the whole branding that we can create, because HR can have an idea about how we want to send a message to the candidates, to you guys, how amazing our internships are. But marketing will tell us, okay, you don't say things like this, or you should promote it through those channels, and we're going to make a campaign, things that we as HR and recruiters typically don't know. So if you're going to work in a company like this, if you like that cross-functional work, if you want to learn more about other departments, then Startup and Scale Up is really great for you. And in terms of recruitment, to be honest, for interns and starters, the best things that work is having a really good LinkedIn page. Again, that's the biggest tip that I can give you. I can also show you how, for example, I'm searching for people, so you can really get the idea why is it so important to update your LinkedIn profile. Thanks. But it takes a while to feel also confident with yourself.
So dare more to do things that is part of your personal expression. Great, nice. And somebody there, I think you wanted to add something.
What I've learned is to believe in yourself and focus more on your strengths, like the things you are good at, and also to put more short content in your LinkedIn about what you like, so that it's easy for people to actually look for you, so you might have more opportunities. Then you put important key content on your LinkedIn.
It's about the strengths. Definitely push them to the maximum and show the world what you're good in, but also make sure that you take a look at your weaknesses, because you have your whole life in front of you to live with those weaknesses, and it's actually a very good idea to work on them because it can bring you further. For example, for me, the biggest weakness like 10 years ago was that I was extremely introvert. You wouldn't say that right now probably, but if you put me in a room with people that I didn't know, I could cry. It was so badly, I would feel very insecure. I would feel like everybody's looking at me. And now I'm speaking at events, and when you put me in a room that I don't know anybody, if I feel like it, that's another story, but if I feel like it, within 10 minutes I can meet everybody. So this has helped me also to learn a lot and to become better also in my profession and also in my personal life, because it helped me to make new friends. So do work also on your weaknesses, because you can become a complete different person in the future, a better person maybe even, if you work on them. And I'm still work in progress. I'm only 30 years old almost, so there's still a lot of things that I'm going to learn. Maybe in 10 years we see each other, and I'm going to be super proud of you guys where you got. So
Maybe sooner if Teddy hires you for a job.
yeah, I'm
Right?
hiring for my clients, so add me on LinkedIn.
Yes, exactly. It's good to have a headhunter right now.
In your network,
In your
absolutely.
network, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Is anybody actually looking for an internship still here?
Oh yeah, they are.
Do indeed drop me a LinkedIn invitation, or just let me know what you're looking for. I have 3,000 recruiters in my network. I think that this is enough to find you some good internships, right?
3,000 more. 3,000 more than yesterday.
3,000
Yeah.
more than yesterday, exactly, just with one LinkedIn connection. And guys, also learn those tools of LinkedIn that we discussed today, like the alumni tools, also things like responding to posts to people, to connect with them, looking at their reading list, connecting on mutual subjects is another one, by the way. Looking at your SSI index, remember? Social selling index as well, and try to improve this index on LinkedIn. So use these tools extensively, and also develop your personal branding website, as we discussed today. I'll show you my own example, because it's also nice, because I'm also a work in progress there. But send these examples to me, and also if you really want Teddy to look at them, we can ask her advice to have a look and to advise you what to improve in your personal brand website. And I hope that was I think you've learned a lot, and you heard interesting stories from personal experience, and build your own great personal stories and journeys and experience. And I look forward, because maybe I didn't share that before, but I work also with a lot of alumni, and when I see sometimes their LinkedIn profiles that they all like say, I've done the digital marketing minor, a lot of them actually have digital jobs and positions, which is very interesting. I think about more than 80% of the alumni of the minor do have digital jobs, and quite interesting jobs like content managers or communication managers, companies, etc. So it's always great, and you as such also to connect with the future and to build that LinkedIn network, alumni network, digital in this case also, but not only. But great. I want to also thank you for your time and attention and being also here today, because lots of people thought that we're gonna go for holidays already, and I also want to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year already.
Oh, yeah.
So have good holidays, and I also want to give. It's a very small token, Teddy. It's something from school. It's a power bank to bring the power.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. I was actually in big need of this one.
A power bank,
Yeah.
great. So I'm glad it's useful, so you can use it as well.
Thank you very much.
Next time I will know a bottle of Jack Daniels. I will know that one.
Yes, yes.